Today, we're going to discuss a topic that is not only critical for our planet, but also impacts how you do business. We all have investigated sustainability topics and initiatives, and ISSA has even created a special committee to focus on all of this. But there are unique angles and perspectives that we need to share with you. And to do this, I welcome Mohammed Abbas, the sustainability specialist at Sofidel America. Mohammed, welcome to the program.
Jeff, thanks a lot for having me over. Uh, Indeed, it's a critical topic today, and I believe it's going to be critical for the upcoming at least like 50 years.
Yeah, and I appreciate your time today. I know you're busy with your work, but a few questions we want to get into and to get some information from your perspective as an expert in this field. So, if you're ready to start, I'll ask this question, and it's based on a recent webinar I saw you on. Enjoyed it. You have a unique perspective on sustainability and what that means to you. So, to start, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about that, what that means to you.
Okay, so why don't we go back a bit in the start of my studies and career, right? To kind of like know where I am right now in terms of sustainability and why I'm kind of working on it, right? So originally, I actually have a background in chemical engineering, and I got it from Suez University in Egypt. Then by 2014, I wanted to do something more related to energy field, more into the renewable energy. And I was looking for a program to kind of pursue this. And I found the sustainability engineering program at Villanova University. And I thought, okay, that's good. It has the renewable energy part, and that's actually more inclusive to materials and other aspects in terms of industry. And I decided to join a master's program in this university. And then after the master's, I decided to join a PhD in the same program and same university. And for me, I was working with several companies during the program in their sustainability challenges. I'm not going to call it problems, challenges. And they were kind of diverse and fantastic, but the kind of the main theme is that sustainability is a systems issue, it's a systems problem at the first place. You got to think systems of inputs, outputs, and different processes going on in different industries, whether it's chemicals industry, pharmaceuticals, energy, or even like solar panels industry, right? Um, and for the past, I mean, like for the past 5 years through my academic journey, I've focused on sustainability in industrial companies. But at the same time, I had this, I would say, passion of how to use emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain, all these buzzwords that we hear every day into solving sustainability challenges. And this is how I am, like, this is like how I got into this industry. Right now, I can say fully that I am enjoying it. It's not easy, but at the same time, it's kind of it has a beautiful spark to it. So this is how I got into sustainability. And for me, again, sustainability is a systems thinking, is a systems problem at the first place. It it makes sure that whatever product we manufacture or whatever like project we manage or whatever process we want to develop has a benign impact, not just on the environment, but also on the society and the people and the company's profit as well, right? Sustainability tackles the three bottom line: profit, planet, and people. This is what sustainability is. You want to make sure that whatever business you're doing has a benign impact on the three and sustainable as well.
Great details. I'm learning something here. I liked how you changed. You didn't say problem, but challenge, and that's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this thought: powerful driving forces for sustainability. In what you've seen, what are those?
Yeah, very, very good question, because and also it's critical right now. When we speak of driving forces, I like to think of it as staircase, right? Or as it's kind of a cascaded force that stems from a root and then blooms to kind of several branches, okay? So the baseline where we kind of drive any thought or any project is the facts, right? First, we need to look at the scientific facts, what we have right now, what we learn from our behavior and its impact on environment, society, and the economic dynamics all over the world, right? We have a baseline of scientific facts. Then we relay these scientific facts to people, and this is the second step, which again, like this is the spark, right? Scientific facts are the spark. And then you relay these scientific facts to people. People choose to believe them after validating that actually what they hear is scientifically correct, right? And then people, by knowing the scientific facts on our behavior today in the world, they choose a certain approach, right? And thankfully, most of the people would choose the benign approach. Let's keep our environment healthy. Let's keep our people safe. Let's keep the economy going, but without impacting in a bad way, of course, any of the environment or society or people, right? And this is where you have the most push from people. People are calling for sustainable behaviors from companies, from retailers, from manufacturers, right? Because again, through science, we know that we are actually impacting the planet in a very severe way, and it's not going to be reversible unless we do certain things, unless certain activities are actually performed in a certain way. Sometimes they are aggressive, but it's necessary to kind of keep the planet safe and keep hence people safe, right? People's voice, consumers' voice is relayed to, again, regulators, governors, and this is where the regulations come into play. Okay, if we want to make sure that our behavior or our industry is sustainable in terms of like in different industries, we gotta enforce some regulations to kind of make sure that our activities right now are sustainable from like a manufacturer point of view, or even from a retailer point of view, or even from like a material sourcing entities or organization point of view. And this is I would say, the third driving force. So the baseline is science. Once you establish a good scientific base on what's going on right now with your activities, you can relay these like scientific facts based on experimentation and based on, again, from academic point of view, peer-reviewed research, not just like someone gets publishes the research and that's it, right? You relay these results to people. People have voice. Once they kind of validate these scientific facts, and then they believe that there are certain activities needs to be done to keep our planet and people safe, they will shout out for companies to kind of make changes. Companies and governments listen to people and make these changes through regulations. And this is the final driving force.
The power of people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And science. So power of people be misused.
I get that. But present the information, the facts, the scientific base, and people will see what it is and comment and pressure for change. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about third-party certifications now? Because people are interested in that. How do those work?
Yeah, again, very important aspect of sustainability. So a third party, let's kind of define what a third party is in terms of certification, right? So as a company, I'm doing certain activities. They can be good or bad, right? And in order to kind of relay my my activities, or kind of like announce that my activities are benign and they're not malicious, they're not misusing, exploiting any community, I would need someone to kind of testify for this, an organization, right? And this organization needs to have certain characteristics or traits. First of all, there should be no conflict of interest between what I'm doing as a manufacturer and what this entity or organization, third party, is actually certifying or testifying for, right? the third party also needs to be unbiased in terms of its judgment or kind of weighing criteria or weighing methodology of what the activities I'm doing or like I'm sourcing from, if it's a kind of third party certifier for materials, for example. So that what encapsulates a third party as a certifier, right? Once we have this kind of traits or characteristics in an organization that's a third party, now this third party can actually testify based on, again, certain criteria that my activities are actually benign, or they are what they are basically represent what we claim, right? So the unbiased judgment and no conflict of interest are kind of the two crucial traits or characteristics of a certifying third party, right? And from our perspective as Sofidel, we use the third party to kind of certify that our source like materials, which is basically pulp and trees, are renewable and they are not exploiting the planet in any way. So we are using FSC certification, and they basically certify that whatever we do in terms of material sourcing, in terms of pulps, it's renewable and sustainable. And the way the FSC does it is basically when we purchase pulp from any entity, they certify or like they make sure that the pulp we source, first of all, it's from legal forest, like it's legally sourced. It's not like from illegal forestry activities. And based on our consumption, they make sure that if we are, for example, using 2 trees to produce a paper, for example, I'm giving just like a hypothetical number here, they make sure that these 2 trees are replanted. No, actually, they make sure that the threefold of these 2 trees is replanted to keep the forest alive and sustainable. And this is how we guarantee that our pulp is renewable, truly renewable. Because again, like whatever we take from nature, we give it back at the same time, right? So that's how we use third party in our industry as a paper manufacturer. Thinking of third party, it provides certain traits, like it provides certain advantages for everyone actually. First of all, for us as a manufacturer, we make sure that whatever we source is actually good. It has a benign impact on environment, it has benign impact on the society that's actually cutting the tree there or the forest we're getting the pulp from. And it also builds these trust bridges between us as a manufacturer and our raw materials suppliers, as well as the final end user, whether it's a retailer or like a direct end user, like a customer, basically. Because again, once these end users see that we have a certain certificate on our different products, they make sure that, okay, this company is doing a good job in terms of making sure that the product is sustainable, right? And again, back to the driving force of people's voice. If a customer knows that, hey, I want to buy a sustainable product, and I see this third-party certification on a product after making sure that this third party is actually verified third party, right? I would buy this product, right? For the sake of, again, for the sake of planet, for the sake of myself, and for the sake of my community. This is how third-party certification works. And this is how, as Sofidel, we use third-party certification.
Makes sense. Good information. Let's expand a little bit and talk about sustainability as a global effort, because we know it's not confined to any single country. Some might lead more than others, just how it is. But so we know there are differences from one to another. So tell us, what have you observed and what can we learn from each other, from country to country?
Good. That's very interesting question, and it's challenging. Though like there is a global umbrella of sustainability, we all want the same goal. We gotta also be careful of the different market dynamics, social dynamics, and cultural dynamics in different places, right? As a company, we are like Sofidel is an Italian company. Our headquarters is in Italy, right? And Sofidel America, which I'm representing here, is part of that, right? But we operate in the USA, of course. But since our parent company is in Italy, we actually follow more the sustainability regulations existing in Europe. And trust me, they are more aggressive than here. But let me get into this. Speaking in general, from a bird's eye view, we can see that sustainability is driven by both regulations and consumers, as we mentioned a couple of minutes ago. However, here in the US, we can see that sustainable business practices are driven by consumers more than regulations. But the regulations are there, but they're not quite there yet, if that makes sense. However, in Europe, because again, different market dynamics, sustainability is driven more by regulations. Because again, like the push for more sustainable activities and behavior has been echoing for a while, right? And in Europe, they have, again, different market dynamics. And that makes maybe the regulations kind of follow the consumer voice faster or like in a more aggressive way. And the USA, again, different geopolitical and economic systems. So sustainability is here. However, the way it transpires or the way it's driven have a different shape. So basically here, consumer voice has like more of a kind of a strength to it into kind of pushing companies to be more sustainable. Regulations again are following up, they are catching up. But comparing, for example, the European regulatory system to the American regulatory system, there are quite the differences between the two in terms of pushing for sustainability agendas.
Okay, good. It's interesting to see what other countries are doing. And I've seen that as well, with Europe being a little more advanced with what they're doing, not just here, but in other aspects of life as well. I know what people want to hear about now, emerging technologies that we should know about, because we have the facts. Well, what are we going to do to make it happen? What would you say some of those are that you've noticed?
So I'm going to start with the big word that everyone is speaking of right now, the AI, artificial intelligence. And again, like from an academic perspective, I studied AI again, and I'm not an expert in this, but I have, I guess, a good base on it. And from the applications point of view, AI has two main applications, right? In the industry, we can use it for automation. And in industry as well as the business, from a business perspective, you can use it for data analytics and decision making, right? And this is where we can find the AI as a powerful tool. For example, here in Sofidel, we use AI in automating our processes, right? We have laser guided vehicles to kind of move our products from a place to place in our plant, right? And it's quite fascinating. You just like see these vehicles like autonomously moving on their own, just arranging our kind of parent fields. From an industry perspective, from the business perspective, again, you can see there are a lot of applications in terms of data analytics, market analytics, right? Like sales and demand analytics, right? Pricing analytics, predicting maybe, for example, future prices or future trends, right? And this is where a company can actually utilize the AI as a tool to kind of make sure that their business is kind of doing well, if that makes sense, right? At the end of the day, AI is just a tool. You cannot really solely rely on it yet. And it's still, it has been developing for a while, but there is still a lot, like a huge room for improvement in terms of AI applications, right? That's like one big word that people are talking of right now. Just wanted to clarify it and like how we as Sofidel use it in our businesses. Like basically we use it for automation, right? There are also other technologies, especially like in terms of energy. There is like pretty sure like everyone knows like renewable energy in terms of solar panels, wind turbines, maybe hydro energy or micro hydro turbines. But we, from again sustainability and systems thinking point of view, the way we kind of tackle the energy challenge is, first of all, making sure that our energy are efficient enough, right? Our energy systems are efficient enough. And this can be done through analyzing our generation systems. Renewable energy is good, yet there are some challenges. One major challenge is the intermittency and still the high capital cost of renewable energy systems in general. That's why, like, having a more efficient energy system in this market can be a good step to phase into more renewable energy systems, a more efficient system that are better from the environmental point of view. For example, here at Sofidel, we use efficient energy generation systems like the cogeneration units. And these units are basically utilizing natural gas to produce electricity. And the exhaust of this generation, we can actually use it you can use it for different thermal processes too. Again, like any plant needs electricity and heat for their manufacturing process. And we use these units to produce electricity as well as heat our paper with it. We need to dry the paper, so we use it this way. And in this manner, we can actually phase out our reliance on the grid mix, which is, by the way, have like a worse impact than the natural gas itself. Natural gas has emissions, but the grid mix has more emissions than that. So you can see that by using more energy efficient or more efficient generators, for example, we can phase out step by step to be more reliable, to rely more on efficient generators that can lead into saving money, for example, to invest in the renewable energy system. And this is something that not many people like kind of tackle in their talks. We hear, hey, we want to like electrify our grid. We want to have 100% renewable energy, which is good. We are also seeking the same goal, but we also need to kind of look at the reliability and the challenges with other systems and see how we can tackle these challenges and see how we can phase out our fossil fuel, for example, from our energy systems and to have renewable energy instead. But this phase out, or like the steps needed to do this, need to be highlighted and mentioned as well.
Good information. AI is impacting everything. And I have toured a Sofidel plant, and I did not get run over by any machines. It was an amazing experience to see all those moving parts and all powered by AI. So let's talk about Sofidel a little bit, at what Sofidel has done. And of course, you're proud of where you work. What makes Sofidel different from other manufacturing companies?
Yeah. So from our perspective, Sofidel, sustainability is at our core in terms of business, and it has been this way since we established the company in 1966. And in terms of this, I'm not just going to talk about like, hey, we source certified, 100% certified pulp, but I'm going to also speak about like how we extend our sustainability, like to like have an impact even beyond the paper itself. So, for example, we have kind of like the dispenser, like the hand tissue dispenser, the PaperNet high-tech Seas dispenser, and it's basically a dispenser made of ocean plastic. So we have this agreement with Ocean Conservancy that we source plastic from them that's collected from the ocean, and we remold it. It's basically a third party remold it into injectable material, and then we manufacture our dispensers. And these dispensers, again, they won actually the ISSA Show Innovation Award in 2022. So that's something actually we do. Back to the paper, but we are always in a constant we are always trying to innovate in our products. one of our two technologies like biotech and dissolve tech, and they provide the same quality of paper, like if you compare to a competitor's product, for example, but they have a better end of life as they can biodegrade and dissolve in basically in the flusher, and this saves consumer money and help the planet keeping out our waste from landfill. And in terms of consumer, our products help in like, you know, not causing that many clogging events that some people suffer from when they dispense their tissue in the flusher, right? And this way, basically, they save on their maintenance bill on a, like, you know, maybe on an annual basis. May not be that much, maybe that high. We didn't really capture this, but this is what how we approach our kind of innovation in terms of the end of life of our products. Because again, paper is one of the like tissue paper is one of the like the hardest products that you can tackle in terms of end of life perspective, because it's a single use and you just dispose of it once you're done with it. So we're trying to be benign, or like we try to be more sustainable in this matter and edge ourselves among our competitors in terms of that. And again, people wise, from the company's perspective, or like what I see here, is that the people I work with are from a very diverse background. And this diversity and this kind of dynamics between different ethnicities, like nationalities, furthers our growth and innovation from different perspective. Again, from the cultural perspective, it gives us more understanding. From the environmental perspective, we can learn from each other's behavior in terms of, for example, recycling or tackling different products, right? And this is one of the major pillars that Sofidel has here. And it transpires in our sustainability activities and ideas, like try to think in a different way, try to make use of this diversity and be more collaborative and innovative.
Let's have one more question.
Sure.
Looking at the future of our global cleaning industry, let's say 20 years from now, from your point, Mohammed, what would you like to see? And perhaps comment on the future of Sofidel as well. 20 years or so.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to project what's going to be happening in 20 years, but it's not hard to say what I want to see in 20 years. So from a personal point of view, what I would like to see is a collective understanding of the importance of the net zero products, and ideally net zero products on shelves from all industries. Okay. Regarding the future of Sofidel, we will continue to push for more sustainable practices and achieve our science-based target initiatives, SBTI goals, by 2030, which is coming very close, but that's not in 20 years. However, I'm pretty sure after 2030, we'll have a new baseline, and it's going to be our new 2050 vision, maybe. And again, having a final tissue with less carbon emissions based on our 2030 goal, that's be something that we will see Sofidel is aggressively pursuing, at least after 2030. Right now, we're busy with 2030 goal, but after this, we will see more aggressive goals.
Well, 20 years is just a number, and progress is progress. So exactly. Whether it's in 7 years or 20, it's good to see what you're doing there at Sofidel. So congratulations, and thank you for sharing your thoughts today.